The definition of a luxury car has been redefined. 5 years ago, things like effortless speed, complete silence, giant touchscreens, and the badge were reserved for the elite. Now you can get almost all of it for half the money. That's not an accident. It's a complete industry shift.
Chinese EV brands are coming in hot, offering loads of tech at much lower price points than ever before. They're shaking up the auto industry globally and rattling a lot of legacy car makers. When you can buy something like a Zeekr 7X or a Tesla Model Y for around 70 grand, you've got to wonder, are traditional luxury giants getting beaten at their own game? Speed and massive screens are cheap now. They've been commoditized. But pressure from newer competitors has forced BMW into a complete strategy rethink, sinking around $20 billion into its revolutionary Neue Klasse architecture to fight back. And this is the result. Meet the new BMW iX3. It costs $110,000 before on-road costs, but the investment in it is much, much more. So, at around $35,000 more than the top-selling Tesla Model Y, we've got to ask the question, has BMW's multi-billion-dollar bet paid off? And does it buy true next-gen luxury? Or are they just slapping a massive price tag on an iconic badge? Let's find out. The exterior design is bold, and the illuminated kidney grille up front is a nod to the original Neue Klasse sedans of the 1960s. Measuring up at just under 4.8 metres long and 1.9 metres wide, the all-new midsize SUV is only a fraction larger than the model it replaces. But everything on this car is completely new. Inside, you'll find an array of sustainable materials and more tech than you can poke a stick at. The huge panoramic iDrive display adds a real wow factor to the cabin. You can customise it, switch the icons around, and even display Ken Doan's iconic M3 art car. The oddly shaped central touchscreen is huge, and its free-cut shape is a good match for the edgy interior here. But that said, not everyone will be a fan of the very few buttons it has to offer. And yep, the climate control functions are built into the screen, a common theme in modern vehicles.
There are many cool things about the iX3, but one thing I really wanted to point out was this panoramic glass roof. According to BMW, it blocks out 100% of UVA and UVB rays, I think they were. So you shouldn't get sunburnt, at least from the top down. But there's no physical shade, so they reckon that you don't need one. So like a Tesla Model Y or Model 3 that has the big glass roof, this is the same, although this is... I mean, it looks tinted from here, but it's still letting a little bit of light in. But it does make the cabin feel nice and airy, so I really like that. I also really like the steering wheel. There's about 4 different options, and this one is an M Sport option with obviously the 2 spokes here. And then these are Shy Tech buttons, which have actually been really easy to get used to. They're like a haptic touch sort of button, but they're not very clicky. They're just sort of a bump, which is nice. And then this part doesn't actually connect up to that stalk, so there's a little bit of a gap there, which I don't mind. Feeling it as well, there's this little spot for your thumb. It's a really nice steering wheel. I really like this steering wheel. And yeah, as a whole, I think this panoramic display is great. It's highly configurable, which we've been playing with this morning. So you can personalize it, configure it, and you can add whatever widgets you want. You can put the little art car there, and you can choose which art car you want. Look at all the little options. It's so cool. We actually had like all 5 of them, or 6 of them. What is there? 5. We had all 5 of them up here this morning, which is great. Lots of little options in this car. USB-C, there's a wireless phone charging port. Only thing is, that is very, it can fit a small packet of Eaton biltong. But this is very shallow, so it's not a huge amount of storage unless you want to put things down here in this little console here, but it's open. So you've got that, which is fine. And then you've got the glove box, which is also very small. So yeah, that's it. So it's not a great deal of storage for what is a medium SUV, but yeah, it's not too bad. And I'm just going to get in the back seat. Rear seat space is great. In terms of amenity, you can put a whole bunch of different adapters here for like an iPad or whatever. You've got kids that want devices or whatever. You've got tri-zone air conditioning, which is locked at the moment, so I can't change it, but USB ports, a flat floor, which is really nice. Plenty of space under that seat there to put your feet. Central armrests with cup holders and these electric door buttons. So electrically operated doors, but they also have the manual release built in. So you just pull it a little bit harder and that's how you get out, which is a clever way of doing it. I can't say that I'm a huge fan of this terracotta coloured interior, but the seats are very comfortable, although I think they could be a little bit more bolstered than they are. I don't quite feel super hugged in these seats, but certainly when you put it into sport mode, they hug you a little bit more, which is nice.
Underneath, the new iX3 rides on BMW's Gen 6 eDrive platform, which uses an 800-volt architecture. It also nabs a huge 108 kilowatt-hour battery pack, making it good for a claimed 805 kilometres of driving range from a full charge. But that, of course, depends on a few factors.
Well, this is the vehicle we've been driving today. Now, it is on the 20-inch rims rather than the 22s, but you can also option 21s as well. And BMW tells us, which is very interesting, you lose about 5% of that 805 kilometre driving range with every inch of wheel that you go up. So the 22s will have about 10% less driving range. But realistically, you're not really going to get 805 Ks out of one of these anyway. It's going to be more like 500 to 600, depending on your driving, of course. And if it's freeway or around town, you'll get more. They reckon upwards of 600 Ks.
On the topic of battery packs and charging, the top spec iX3 50 xDrive you see here is good for 400 kilowatt DC fast charging, meaning you can go from 10 to 80% charge in around 20 minutes if you can find a compatible charger. This car also features an intelligent charging flap, which BMW says uses AI to learn your habits, and it can magically open the charge flap when you park in your regular charging spot at home, for example.
Well, it's got the technology and it's got the luxurious cabin, but if it's going to be a premium vehicle, it needs to drive like one as well. And the good news is that it very much does. This is the top spec dual motor variant, but later this year there will be a more affordable rear wheel drive version coming, and that'll be about $90,000. But this one, for $110,000 before on-road costs, it's pretty good money for what you're getting. And what you're getting are some pretty decent numbers. 345 kilowatts of power, a huge 108 kilowatt hour battery pack, which gives you 805 kilometers of driving range. Of course, the caveat to that is that depends on the wheel size and of course how you're going to drive this vehicle as to how much range you'll get. BMW tells us it could be more like 600, 650 Ks. Of course, again, if you're going around town and getting a lot of braking regen, you'll save a bit more juice there. But for most people, if you're doing a lot of highway kilometres and country roads and using a lot of that power, then obviously you're not going to have as long a range. The other good number to remember, 4.9 seconds. That's the 0 to 100 claim here. I trust it because this thing is brisk under acceleration. There is a laundry list of cool things this car does and has in terms of equipment. But one of the things I wanted to mention was its slow pedal stop or smooth stop or whatever it is in BMW speak. It might also be known to some as a chauffeur stop. And there's this special thing that it does when you come to a stop. The rear motor puts on the brakes in a way or does a bit of regen. Look, I'm not a scientist. I don't know exactly how it works, but what it does in reality is when you come to a stop, it's a smooth stop. So there's no jolt when you stop, which is what BMW says. But I tried it a couple times now and it hasn't worked. I'm going to try it one more time. Let's see what it does. Okay, braking. Nice and smooth. I'm being very smooth. Okay, that was actually the smoothest brake I've had. Okay, maybe it does work, but I've heard that it works better if you're using regen. So if you've got it on the highest sort of one pedal-ish driving, that's when it's best felt.
At higher speeds on winding country roads, the iX3 is a lot of fun. It's nimble yet compliant, and wearing the standard 20-inch wheels, it feels comfortable and composed even over rougher road surfaces. And while you could spend as much as around $8,000 opting for the bigger and admittedly much sexier 21 or 22-inch optional wheels, be prepared to lose a bit of driving range and listen to a little more tyre roar at highway speeds if you do so. Look, based strictly on spec sheets, power, screens and tech, the math might leave you scratching your head. Should you really fork out six figures for the iX3 when a Tesla Model Y or a Zeekr 7X gives you immense capability for significantly less money? By all logical metrics, those cars are all the EV anyone realistically needs. But true luxury isn't an appliance. It's about how a car's been engineered, how it makes you feel when you drive it. And even though you might not want to admit it, it's also about social status. Let's not sugarcoat this. There is a lot riding on the new iX3. It's a vehicle BMW couldn't afford to get wrong. So, has its multi-billion-dollar bet paid off? In short, yes. And the best part is the iX3 is just the opening act. It's an exciting first taste of what's to come for BMW's future, even if it is a pricey one.